the threads that bind us, the ultimate guide to ropes, knots, and survival. From the moment we pull on our shoes in the morning to the complex rigging systems that keep global commerce moving across oceans, knots are the invisible infrastructure of human civilization. We rarely think about the physics holding our world together until a poorly tied shoelace trips us up, or a sudden emergency forces us to secure a heavy load in a panic. For thousands of years, the mastery of rope and cordage was a fundamental survival skill, passed down through generations of sailors, builders, and woodsmen. Today, in an era of automated convenience, understanding the relationship between raw material, rope construction, and the mechanical logic of knots remains one of the most practical, empowering skills you can possess. Whether you are pitching a tent in a storm, securing gear to a roof rack, or reacting to a life-or-death rescue scenario, knowing the right knot for the right rope changes you from a bystander into a problem solver. To understand how a knot performs, you must first understand the material beneath your fingers. Ropes are broadly categorized into natural and synthetic fibers, and each type possesses distinct chemical and physical properties that dictate its strength, friction, and environmental resilience. Looking first at natural fibers, we have manila, which is made from the leaves of the abaca plant. Manila is the traditional choice for heavy-duty utility because it offers excellent resistance to sun damage and stretches very little, making it historic shorthand for maritime rigging. The downside is that it rots when wet and loses strength over time if stored improperly. If you move to a coarser option, you find sisal. Sourced from the agave plant, sisal is rough on the hands and structurally weaker than manila. It resists saltwater well, which makes it ideal for agricultural use, twine, and temporary lashings where long-term durability isn't a priority. Then there is basic cotton. Soft, pliable, and easy on the skin, cotton is a favorite for decorative work, clotheslines, and magic tricks, but it has incredibly low tensile strength and absorbs water rapidly, causing it to swell and tighten knots into permanent jams. When we pivot to synthetic fibers, the options change drastically, starting with nylon. Nylon is the absolute king of shock absorption because it is incredibly strong, highly elastic, and boasts excellent UV resistance. Because it can stretch up to 40% before breaking, it is the perfect fit for climbing ropes and anchor lines, though it does lose roughly 15% of its strength when wet and can become dangerously slick. If you need something lightweight and economical, you will likely encounter polypropylene. This is the bright yellow rope you see floating in swimming pools and trailing behind boats. It does not absorb water and floats effortlessly, but it suffers from a low melting point, poor UV resistance, and a slippery texture that makes it notorious for untying itself if you use the wrong knot. For a step up in durability, polyester, often known as Dacron, offers the raw strength of nylon, but without the stretch. It retains its full strength when wet, resists abrasion, and withstands sunlight beautifully, making it the premier choice for sailboat running rigging where static tension is critical. Finally, at the cutting edge of cordage, we have high-modulus polyethylenes, like Dyneema. These ropes are stronger than steel wire of the same diameter while remaining light enough to float, but they have virtually zero stretch and incredibly low friction, requiring highly specialized knots or professional splices to hold securely. The way these fibers are bound together changes how a rope handles, how it distributes tension, and how it interacts with a knot. The two primary methods of construction you will encounter are laid and braided. Laid rope, which many people refer to as twisted rope, is constructed by twisting fibers into yarns, yarns into strands, and then twisting those strands together, usually 3 of them, in the opposite direction of the yarns to balance the internal tension. This classic construction gives the rope a bumpy, distinctively ridged texture. It is a fantastic choice for general utility, anchoring, dock lines, and traditional rigging because it is highly resistant to abrasion. Those thick, external strands can take a heavy scraping before the internal integrity of the rope is ever compromised. Laid rope is also incredibly easy to splice by hand, allowing you to create permanent loops without tying a single knot. However, because it is twisted, it tends to unlay or fray at the ends if you do not whip or melt it, and it can easily kink or rotate under heavy loads. On the other side of the spectrum, we have braided rope, which is created by weaving strands together in a diagonal pattern. This comes in several varieties, including solid braid, hollow braid, and the highly secure kernmantle or double braid construction. Double braid features a braided core completely enclosed by a woven outer sheath. You see braided ropes used constantly in rock climbing, sailing sheets, arborist work, and precision rescue systems. They are rounder, smoother, and far more flexible than laid ropes, allowing them to distribute weight evenly across their entire diameter. This gives them high tensile strength and lets them travel smoothly through pulleys and carabiners. Because the surface is smooth, it provides a completely different friction profile, handling beautifully but requiring knots that can grip tight against a sleek surface. A knot is essentially an intentional kink in a rope. It forces the fibers to bend sharply, creating friction against themselves to prevent the rope from sliding apart. However, every bend weakens the rope's total weight capacity, which means matching the geometry of a knot to the structural behavior of your rope is a critical science. Take the bowline. Famously known as the king of knots, the bowline forms a secure, fixed loop at the end of a line, holding fast under immense tension while remaining incredibly easy to untie once the load is removed. It pairs perfectly with laid ropes and standard double braid ropes because the ridged surface of a twisted line locks the bowline structure firmly in place. However, you should avoid using a standard bowline in highly slick synthetic ropes like polypropylene or Dyneema. The low friction allows the structural core of the bowline to capsize and slip right out under a load unless you add a stopper knot to the working tail. Next is the clove hitch, which is used to quickly secure a rope to a post, cylinder, or spar. It relies entirely on the friction between the rope and the object it is wrapped around. This hitch shines when paired with natural fibers like manila or sisal, as well as rougher braided utility ropes where the textured surface provides the immediate grip necessary to hold. You should never use a clove hitch on a smooth metal post with a shiny nylon or polypropylene rope because it will slip and slacken the moment the direction of the pull changes. For life safety scenarios, the figure-8 loop on a bight is the gold standard in rock climbing and search and rescue. It is inherently bulky, meaning its turns are wider and gentler on the rope fibers than a bowline, which preserves more of the rope's original braking strength. It is the ideal match for braided kernmantle ropes and modern nylon climbing lines because its broad, sweeping bends prevent the tight kinks that destroy synthetic fibers under extreme shock loads, staying secure even in smooth, supple ropes. If you need adjustability, you turn to the taut line hitch. This friction hitch slides freely up and down a standing line to adjust tension but jams tight under a load, making it the definitive knot for tent guy lines and securing cargo. It pairs best with mid-diameter braided polyester or utility cords. The smooth, consistent surface of a braided line allows the friction wraps of the hitch to slide smoothly when adjusting, then bite down evenly when tension is applied. On bumpy laid ropes, the hitch jumps awkwardly over the ridges, leading to uneven tensioning. Finally, we have the square knot, or reef knot, which is intended strictly for binding packages or tying off sails. It should only ever be used to join two ropes of equal diameter, and it works best with cotton twine, natural cordage, or flat webbing. Modern synthetic ropes should never be joined with a square knot if safety is on the line. On nylon or polypropylene, the knot will effortlessly capsize into a slip knot and fail completely under minimal tension. The value of knot tying is often obscured by its simplicity. It is an ancient technology that requires no batteries, software updates, or manufacturing chains, yet its utility scales seamlessly across the entire spectrum of human experience. On a micro level, think about your shoelaces. Most people tie a standard bow using what is structurally a granny knot, which is an unbalanced, weak knot that naturally works itself loose under the rhythmic vibration of walking. By simply switching the direction of your second loop wrap, you create a balanced square knot bow that stays secure all day. Understanding this basic principle of balance saves you daily annoyance. Moving up to utility tasks, imagine driving home with a mattress tied to the roof of your car. Using a series of random chaotic wraps creates a dangerous illusion of security. A single trucker's hitch, which utilizes a loop to create a 3-to-1 mechanical advantage pulley system, allows you to hand tighten a line with enough force to immobilize the cargo safely, keeping the highway secure for everyone. On a macro level, knot tying transitions into the realm of survival and rescue. Imagine a flash flood or a hiking accident where a companion falls down a steep embankment. Throwing them a rope is useless if the loop slips closed around their chest under weight, suffocating them. Knowing how to tie a bowline or a figure-8 loop in total darkness with cold, wet fingers means you can deliver a non-collapsing structural loop that can haul a human being out of harm's way. In survival scenarios, your rope is only as good as the knot holding it. A mismatch between a slick polypropylene rope and an unstable knot can cause an entire shelter to collapse in a storm, or let a critical rescue line slip away right at the moment of peak tension. Mastering knots is about gaining control over your physical environment, turning a loose length of string into a structural tool of absolute precision. Ultimately, a rope is nothing more than a bundle of linear fibers, completely inert on its own. It requires human intelligence, intention, and structural geometry to transform it into a functional tool. By mastering the distinct properties of braided and laid ropes, respecting the chemical advantages of natural and synthetic fibers, and committing the correct knots to muscle memory, you inherit a lineage of practical capability that stretches back to the dawn of human history. The next time you pick up a piece of cordage, remember that you are not just tying a knot, you are practicing a fundamental discipline of engineering. Treat your ropes with care. Practice your hitches until they become second nature, and carry the confidence that comes with knowing exactly how to hold your world together when things start to slip. If you want to transform these practical skills into muscle memory and master the art of self-reliance, you are in the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now and toggle the notification bell to all so you never miss our weekly breakdowns on survival tactics, outdoor gear engineering, and hands-on skills. We dive deep into the mechanics of self-sufficiency, and having you in the community means we can keep building this digital field guide together. Drop a comment below telling me which knot you use the most, or share a time a good knot saved your gear. Smash that like button if you find this breakdown valuable, and share it with a friend who needs to stop tying hope knots. Your support keeps the channel pulling its weight.